We have seen in the previous lecture that when a magnetic dipole is kept in the external magnetic field, then torque acts on the dipole, and due to that there is some potential energy stored in the magnetic dipole. But in this lecture we are going to find out the expression of force acting on the magnetic dipole which is kept in a non-uniform magnetic field. So in the previous lecture, the magnetic field, the external magnetic field was considered to be uniform. But over here we are considering what if we have non-uniform magnetic field. So in the case of non-uniform magnetic field, if you keep a magnetic dipole, if you place a magnetic dipole, in that case also torque will act on the magnetic dipole, and due to which it will have potential energy. But in addition to that, force will act on the magnetic dipole. So if you have uniform magnetic field, if the magnetic field does not varies with change in the coordinates, means magnetic field is uniform in the space, in that case no force acts on the magnetic dipole. But if the magnetic field is non-uniform, in that case the torque acts on the dipole as well as some force acts on the magnetic dipole. So in this lecture we are going to find out the expression of force acting on the magnetic dipole which is kept in non-uniform magnetic field. So you consider a magnetic dipole of magnetic dipole moment mu m vector. So we have already seen what is magnetic dipole moment. It is the product of current times the area enclosed by the circular loop. So if you have some magnetic dipole of magnetic dipole moment mu m vector and it is kept in non-uniform magnetic field, so what will be the potential energy of the magnetic dipole? That will be given by the same formula which we derived in the previous lecture. So potential energy stored in the magnetic dipole will be given by minus mu m vector dot product with B vector. So the formula of potential energy will remain the same. So if you have non-uniform magnetic field B vector and you have a magnetic dipole with magnetic dipole moment mu m vector, the potential energy of the magnetic dipole will be given by minus of dot product of the magnetic dipole moment and the magnetic field. But we know that in this case we have considered non-uniform magnetic field, means magnetic field will change as you change the position in space. So if you change your position, magnetic field, the value of magnetic field will change because it is non-uniform. So if the value of magnetic field changes, that means the potential energy will also vary from point to point. So if you have non-uniform magnetic field, means the magnitude of the magnetic field is changing, the magnetic field is changing from point to point, which means that the potential energy will also vary from point to point. As the magnetic field acting on the dipole is non-uniform, potential energy will vary from point to point. And due to the variation in the potential energy, there will be some force acting on the magnetic dipole, and the expression of force is given by negative of gradient of the potential energy. So this is the formula. How do we find the expression of force if you are given with the expression of potential energy? So force is given by negative of gradient of potential energy. Now let's put the expression of potential energy in this formula. So that will become equal to negative of gradient of minus of mu m vector dot product with B vector. So negative into negative will become a positive sign and you will have mu m vector dot product with B vector. So you have got gradient of mu m vector dot product with B vector. Now over here we can use the vector identity. What is the gradient of dot product of two vectors? So gradient of dot product of two vectors is given by A vector, then cross product with curl of the second vector which is B vector. and then you have b vector cross product with curl of the first vector, and then you have the third term, which is a vector dot product with del vector and then b vector, and the last term that you have is b vector dot product with del vector and a vector. Now in this case we have gradient of mu m vector dot product with b vector. So a vector will be mu m vector and b vector is the magnetic field vector. So you will get gradient of mu m vector dot product with b vector, that will become equal to a vector means mu m vector cross product with curl of the magnetic field, and then magnetic field vector cross product with curl of mu m vector, and then plus a vector is mu m vector dot product with del operator times b vector plus b vector dot product with del vector and then mu m vector. Now in this equation, curl of mu m vector will go to 0 because it does not vary with x, y and z coordinates. And similarly this last term here you have del vector operating on mu m vector. So when you will solve it, this will come out to be 0 because mu m vector does not vary with x, y and z. And the only two terms that are remaining is this one and this one. Now in this case we consider that magnetic field is conservative. So we consider the condition that the magnetic field which we have taken, this magnetic field is conservative. So we are using the condition that curl of magnetic field is 0. So this is the special case that we are considering. Only for those magnetic fields for which curl comes out to be equal to 0, in that case this first term will also vanish. So only for those types of magnetic fields whose curl is equal to 0, this term will become equal to this term. And you can write the expression of force over here as mu m vector dot product with del vector times b vector. Now keep in mind that this is the expression of force only when the magnetic field is conservative, means its curl comes out to be equal to 0. But we have seen in the previous lectures that this is not the case always, as we have seen that curl of magnetic field comes out to be mu naught times j vector. But there are some special cases when this curl comes out to be equal to 0, means in the case of current free space. The case when j vector is equal to 0, in that case curl of magnetic field will be equal to 0. So we are just talking about those special cases. So in that case we can write the left hand side as this one. So force can be written equal to this expression, and we can write the magnetic field B vector in the form of its components, means I cap Bx plus J cap By plus K cap Bz. So what are the various components of force? So force will also have three components. So the x component of the force, x component of the force will be equal to mu m vector dot product with gradient of Bx. So this will give you the x component, then this will give you the y component, and this will give you the z component of the force. So the x component of the force will be mu m vector dot product with gradient of Bx. Then Fy, the y component of the force will be equal to mu m vector dot product with del vector, and it is operating on By. then the z component of the force will be mu m vector dot product with del vector times, and it is operating on Bz. So these are the components of force which are acting on the magnetic dipole, which is kept in the non-uniform magnetic field. So when a magnetic dipole is placed in non-uniform magnetic field, it will experience force as well as it will experience torque. So the expression of torque we have found in the previous lecture, and the expression of force we have found in this derivation. So force and torque, they both will act on the magnetic dipole when you have non-uniform magnetic field. Now, as we have seen in the previous lecture, that the torque that acts on the magnetic dipole, the torque that acts, it tends to turn the dipole in the direction of magnetic field. So we have already studied over there that torque tries to turn the dipole in the direction of the magnetic field, means it tries to turn the dipole in a situation when potential energy is minimum. So if this is the direction of magnetic field, as we have seen in the previous lecture, if this is the direction of magnetic field and this is the direction of the magnetic dipole, then the torque that acts on this magnetic dipole, it will try to turn this dipole in the direction of the magnetic field. And we have seen that when the magnetic dipole moment is along the magnetic field, when the direction of magnetic field and magnetic dipole moment are the same, in that case potential energy is minimum. So the torque tries to turn the dipole, the magnetic dipole, it tries to turn the magnetic dipole in the direction of minimum potential energy. But this force will move the magnetic dipole to a region of stronger magnetic field. So this force that acts on the magnetic dipole in the non-uniform magnetic field, this force tries to move the magnetic dipole to a region of stronger magnetic field. So force acts only when you have non-uniform magnetic field. So force acts on the magnetic dipole when you have non-uniform magnetic field, and this force will try to move the magnetic dipole to a region of stronger magnetic field. And why does it tries to move the dipole to a region of stronger magnetic field? Because if you have stronger magnetic field, if the dipole moves to a region of stronger magnetic field, means higher value of magnetic field, the potential energy will be more and more negative. So the torque tries to turn the dipole in the direction of magnetic field, because in that situation potential energy is negative, it is least. And this force will also try to move the dipole to a region of stronger magnetic field. So if you have non-uniform magnetic field, let's say at this point magnetic field is more and at this point magnetic field is less. So let's say at this point magnetic field is higher, and at some other points surrounding the magnetic dipole, at these points magnetic field is less. So if you have some magnetic dipole kept over here in a region of weaker magnetic field, if you have a magnetic dipole kept over here, force will act on this dipole, and that force will try to move this magnetic dipole in a region of stronger magnetic field. So it will try to move this dipole in a region of stronger magnetic field. And why does it do so? Because if it moves in a region of stronger magnetic field, the value of magnetic field will be more, and hence the potential energy will be more negative in that case. So if this right hand side increases, the left hand side will become more and more negative. So this phenomena you also have done experimentally. So you might have done this experimentally. Let's say if you have some magnet, this is the north pole and this is the south pole. So let's say you take a horseshoe magnet. So this is the north pole and this one is the south pole, and you keep a ball on the two poles like this, and you keep some paramagnetic material. So we will see in just few minutes what is a paramagnetic material. So let's say you keep some paramagnetic material. Now paramagnetic material has magnetic dipoles present inside it. So there will be some magnetic dipoles which are present in these paramagnetic materials. So when you have such a kind of a system, means you have two poles, north and south pole, and you have a paramagnetic material. So we know that around the poles, around the north and south pole, magnetic field is stronger. So the magnetic field is stronger close to the poles and magnetic field is weaker away from the poles. So when you have such a kind of a system, means some paramagnetic material is kept over here. Now paramagnetic material has some magnetic dipoles present inside it. And you have north and south poles, and due to the presence of these poles, non-uniform magnetic field is present, because close to the poles magnetic field is stronger and away from the poles magnetic field is weaker. So when you have magnetic dipoles kept over here, in the non-uniform magnetic field, torque will act on these dipoles, means the torque will try to turn the dipoles in the direction of magnetic field. As well as in the case of non-uniform magnetic field, force will act on these dipoles, and that force will try to move the dipoles in the region of stronger magnetic field. So if you have a paramagnetic material kept over here in a ball, and this ball is kept on the north and south poles, so after some time you will see that the paramagnetic materials, they have come closer to the north and south pole. So in the first picture, the paramagnetic material has been placed at the center, but after some time the paramagnetic material, it comes close to the poles like this. And this means that the force has acted on the magnetic dipoles, and that force has tried to move the magnetic dipoles in a region of stronger magnetic field. In the case of a horseshoe magnet, or in the case of any magnet, the magnetic field is stronger close to the poles and it is weaker away from the poles. So if you have such a kind of a system, the paramagnetic material gets deposited close to the poles, means in a region of stronger magnetic field, means the force has acted on the magnetic dipoles in the non-uniform magnetic field, and that force has made the paramagnetic material to go into a region of stronger magnetic field. Now we are going to study about diamagnetic and paramagnetic atoms. So atoms can be categorized into two types. Firstly, diamagnetic atoms. Now diamagnetic atoms are the ones that have zero magnetic moment. They have zero magnetic moment. In the previous lecture, we have said that atom consists of positively charged nucleus, and there are certain number of electrons that are revolving around that nucleus. Now due to the revolution of these electrons, as these electrons are orbiting around the nucleus, due to this the electrons, they act as a current loop. So these orbits, the orbits in which the electrons are revolving, these orbits, they act as circular loops, and hence the atom acts as a magnetic dipole. So this we have studied in the previous lecture. But if you have electrons which are paired in the ground state, means if you have even number of electrons present in the atom, then the magnetic moments of each electrons are oppositely directed. So if you have even number of electrons, then the magnetic moments of those atoms will be directed in the opposite direction, and that will cancel each other. So in the case of an atom in which there are even number of electrons, means the electrons are paired in the ground state. In that case, the magnetic moments are directed in the opposite direction, and hence they will cancel each other. And due to this, these atoms, such a kind of atoms, have zero magnetic moment, and those atoms are called as diamagnetic atoms. So thus atoms with even number of electrons are usually diamagnetic, and example is helium, neon, argon, etc. So these atoms have zero magnetic dipole moment and they are termed as diamagnetic atoms. Then second kind of atoms are the paramagnetic atoms. So the diamagnetic atoms have zero magnetic dipole moment and the opposite are paramagnetic atoms, and these atoms have permanent magnetic dipole moment, means they have non-zero magnetic dipole moment. And this can occur if you have odd number of electrons, means at least one electron is unpaired. So if one electron is unpaired, then you will have magnetic dipole moment of that electron, and that will contribute to the total magnetic dipole moment of the whole atom. So if one electron is unpaired and all other atoms, if one electron is unpaired and all other electrons in the atom are paired, due to the other electrons which are paired, magnetic moment will be equal to zero, because magnetic dipole moment of all those electrons will be directed in the opposite direction and hence they will cancel each other. But if there is an electron which is unpaired, that electron will contribute to the magnetic dipole moment of the whole atom. So this occurs in the case of atoms which have odd number of electrons. So odd number of electrons, atoms with odd number of electrons are usually paramagnetic. And example is hydrogen atom, then sodium atom, then aluminium, etc. So in these atoms, one electron is unpaired, and due to that unpaired electron, the whole atom will have a certain amount of magnetic dipole moment. So it will have permanent magnetic dipole moment. In the opposite case, the diamagnetic atoms, they have zero magnetic dipole moment because all electrons are paired. So their magnetic dipole moments will cancel each other. Now let's consider you have any magnetic material. Let's suppose that this material is made up of some paramagnetic atoms. So every atom which is present inside this material, every atom will have its own magnetic dipole moment. So as we have seen on the previous page, that atoms can be categorized into diamagnetic and paramagnetic. Now paramagnetic atoms have their own magnetic dipole moment. So if you consider that this material is made up of paramagnetic atoms, so every atom will have its magnetic dipole moment. So let's say one atom is present over here. So this atom will have its magnetic dipole moment. Let's say it has magnetic dipole moment in this direction. And there is some other atom and its magnetic dipole moment, let's say, is in this direction. Then there is some other atom, its magnetic dipole moment is in this direction. So there will be large number of atoms present in this material, and every atom will have its own magnetic dipole moment directed in random direction. So this sample contains large number of atoms and every atom has its magnetic dipole moment. Now if there is no magnetic field applied, no external magnetic field is there, in that case these magnetic dipole moments are directed in random directions. So their net effect is zero. The magnetic dipole moment of this whole sample will be equal to zero because we do not have any external magnetic field applied, and in the absence of any external magnetic field, these magnetic dipole moments, they are oriented in random directions, due to which their net effect is equal to zero. So sum of the magnetic moments of all the atoms, the sum of all the magnetic dipole moments will be equal to zero if you do not have any external magnetic field. As we have seen in the previous lecture that when you apply external magnetic field, it will try to turn the dipole in the direction of magnetic field. So if you have magnetic field in this direction and magnetic dipole moment is in this direction, so torque will act on this magnetic dipole and it will try to turn this dipole in the direction of the magnetic field. So torque will act only if you have external magnetic field, and in the absence of any external magnetic field, all these magnetic dipole moments are randomly oriented, due to which their sum is equal to 0. Now what happens if you apply external magnetic field to this sample? So when magnetic field is applied, in that case torque will act on all these magnetic dipoles. So torque will act when you apply external magnetic field, and when torque acts, that torque will try to turn the dipoles in the direction of magnetic field. So let's say you apply external magnetic field in this horizontal direction. So in this direction, if you apply the external magnetic field, torque will act on these dipoles, and that torque will try to turn these dipoles in the direction of magnetic field. So this dipole will be turned in this direction so that it gets oriented in the direction of magnetic field. Then torque will act on this dipole and it will try to turn it in this direction so that it becomes in the direction of magnetic field. So similarly, torque will act on all the magnetic dipoles and it will try to turn those dipoles in the direction of magnetic field, due to which the whole sample will acquire net magnetic moment. So this whole sample will acquire net magnetic moment when you apply external magnetic field. So when there is no external magnetic field, all these magnetic dipoles are randomly oriented, due to which their sum is equal to 0. But as soon as you apply external magnetic field, torque will act on these dipoles and that torque will try to turn these dipoles in the direction of magnetic field, due to which this whole sample will acquire certain amount of total magnetic moment. Means the material acquires net magnetic moment, and we say that material gets magnetized. So material gets magnetized means it acquires net magnetic moment when you apply external magnetic field. So here we also define a term called as magnetization, intensity of magnetization, and it is usually represented by m vector. So magnetization is given by the total magnetic dipole moment divided by the total volume. So let's say if mu m vector, this is the net magnetic dipole moment of this whole sample, then if you divide it by the volume of the sample, that will give you the magnetization. So magnetization is related to the magnetic dipole moment in this manner. So if the sample acquires magnetic moment, if the sample acquires the net magnetic moment, means the material gets magnetized. So it will have certain amount of magnetization. So depending upon this magnetization, we can classify the magnetic materials into 3 types. So first are the diamagnetic substances. So diamagnetic substances are those which acquire magnetization in the opposite direction to that of the magnetic field. So diamagnetic substances are made up of diamagnetic atoms. As we have seen that diamagnetic atoms have 0 magnetic dipole moment. So every atom in these substances will have 0 magnetic dipole moment. So if you have a diamagnetic substance, then every atom will have 0 magnetic dipole moment. So if you have an atom, a diamagnetic atom, there are even number of electrons which are orbiting around this nucleus. Now every electron will have its magnetic dipole moment, but that magnetic dipole moment will be cancelled by another electron which pairs with that electron. So in the case of diamagnetic substances, we have diamagnetic atoms, and diamagnetic atoms are the ones in which we have even number of electrons, means all the electrons are paired. So every electron in these atoms will have its magnetic dipole moment, but that magnetic dipole moment gets cancelled by another electron which pairs up with that electron. So the net effect is that the diamagnetic atom has zero magnetic dipole moment. So the magnetic dipole moments of individual electrons, they get cancelled with each other, due to which the net magnetic dipole moment of this single atom will be equal to 0. So this atom, this diamagnetic atom in this diamagnetic substance, this atom will have zero magnetic dipole moment, this atom will also have zero magnetic dipole moment, and so on. All these atoms, they have zero magnetic dipole moment. Now what happens if you place this sample in external magnetic field? So as we have seen in this case, that when you place a paramagnetic substance, so this is a paramagnetic substance because every atom has its own magnetic dipole moment. So when you place this paramagnetic substance in the magnetic field, in that case the dipole moments, the individual dipole moments are turned in the direction of magnetic field, means this magnetic material, this paramagnetic material gets magnetized in the direction of magnetic field. But opposite thing happens in the case of diamagnetic substance, because every atom has zero magnetic dipole moment, and if you place this sample in external magnetic field like this, if you place it in external magnetic field, then these electrons try to cancel the effect of this external magnetic field by developing magnetic dipole in the opposite direction. So these electrons, these atoms, they try to cancel the magnetic field, they try to reduce the magnetic field inside this material by developing magnetic dipole moment in the opposite direction. So in that case, every atom will acquire magnetic dipole moment. So when a diamagnetic substance is placed in magnetic field, every atom will acquire magnetic dipole moment in the opposite direction of the magnetic field, means this diamagnetic substance has got magnetized in the opposite direction to that of the external magnetic field. So these are what we call as diamagnetic substances, and example of these materials are bismuth, lead, copper, etc. So diamagnetic substances are those which, when placed in a magnetic field, are magnetized in the opposite direction to that of the magnetic field. Then we have paramagnetic substances. So paramagnetic substances we have already seen in this case. So when you place these paramagnetic substances in external magnetic field, so these materials, they get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field, and example is aluminium, then chromium, platinum, etc. So such kind of materials, when placed in external magnetic field, get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field. Now the third kind of substances are ferromagnetic substances. Now these substances get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field. So paramagnetic substances also get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field. The ferromagnetic substances also get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field. But what is the difference between the two? The ferromagnetic substances get strongly magnetized. So this is the difference. Ferromagnetic substances get strongly magnetized in the direction of magnetic field, whereas the paramagnetic substances, they get magnetized in the direction of magnetic field, but they are weakly magnetized. The ferromagnetic substances are strongly magnetized when placed in the magnetic field. The paramagnetic substances are weakly magnetized. And the reason we will see in the upcoming lectures, and the reason is that the ferromagnetic substances have certain regions in them which are called as domains. So that we will study in the upcoming lectures. Due to these domains, due to the presence of these domains, the ferromagnetic substances, they get strongly magnetized when placed in external magnetic field. Example of ferromagnetic substances are iron, cobalt, nickel.